Good afternoon, and thank you for coming out this afternoon. Along with members of JSO's Robbery and Violent Crimes Unit, I announced the arrests of Kayden Tuten and Nakendall Jackson pertaining to the shooting of a child victim. On July 20th, 2023, ShotSpotter alerted JSO of shots fired in the 1500 block of West 19th Street. Patrol officers immediately responded and discovered that a 9-year-old child had been shot in the neck. The 9-year-old child was immediately transported to an area hospital, and although seriously injured, that child is expected to survive and is currently in critical but stable condition. Acknowledging the privacy rights of a child victim, I will not be sharing any additional information on that child. While I'm devastated that any child must endure the trauma of gun violence or any kind of violence, I'm thankful that through the quick action of first responders and medical providers, this child will survive these terrible injuries. To the child victim and the child's family, please know that the thoughts and prayers of our community and this office are with you during what is sure to be a difficult journey to recovery. Robbery and violent crimes detectives immediately began investigating to identify the persons responsible for this heinous act of violence. Using all available investigative resources and talent, detectives soon identified Tuten and Jackson as the perpetrators of this crime. Disturbingly, Tuten and Jackson are juveniles themselves. Tuten is 14 years old and Jackson is 15. Tuten and Jackson were both arrested on 2 felony charges respectively: attempted murder and shooting and throwing deadly missiles. Tuten and Jackson now face prosecution by our partners at the State Attorney's Office. As they have pending criminal cases, I cannot provide details about the investigation nor the evidence against them. However, I can share that the investigation revealed that the child victim was not the intended target of gunfire, but they shouldn't have been firing guns anyway. During the investigation, a residential search warrant was executed and a Taurus 9mm handgun was located and seized. Through forensic analysis at the JSO Firearms Lab, we have confirmed that this 9mm handgun fired the spent casings that were located and collected at the scene. Anytime a child is hurt by gunfire violence in this city, or any other kind of violence, our community suffers collective injury. Our children are our most precious resource, and it is simply unacceptable that they should be the unintended or intended victims of violence. There is no excuse and no justification for this type of indiscriminate violence. This agency will always zealously pursue those that choose a lifestyle of violence that victimizes the innocents in our community. I want to commend the dedicated investigators to my right and to my left for our JSO's Robbery and Violent Crimes Unit for their swift and successful investigation. Additionally, I want to acknowledge the other JSO units that provided important intelligence and assistance which led to this investigation's successful outcomes. Both the gang and the community problem response units supported robbery and violent crimes detectives whose steadfast work led to the identification and arrest of Tuten and Jackson. With accountability for those who choose gun violence comes a recognition that gun violence will not be excused, permitted, justified, or tolerated in Jacksonville, and I don't care how old you are. No child should know the pain that this child victim has endured and will continue to endure. Again, our prayers are with the child victim and the victim's family, and at this time I'll take any questions that you may have.
Are these 2 teenagers going to be charged as adults by chance?
They were direct filed from what I understand this morning. That's correct.
And out of the 2 teenagers, do you know who pulled the trigger by chance, or was it both of them?
We have some information, but we're not going to share that right at this very moment.
Also, maybe what stemmed or led up to the shooting. You guys know that?
I don't want. What I don't want to do is I don't want to discuss the details of that. Now I'm going to tell you why. Because there's no excuse for it. There's no reason for someone to go shoot into a house indiscriminately, and especially when a 9-year-old is shot. We've had this happen before many years ago. We are fortunate that this didn't result in a death, but it's still just as angering and frustrating. So we're not going to tolerate it. I don't care how old they are, and I don't care for what reason. It's just not going to be tolerated.
Was the shooting gang related? Can you say?
That's at this point we don't have any information that it was gang related.
So the 2 teenagers just shot indiscriminately into the house. It was random.
There was a reason for it, but they shot into a house and they didn't know who was in there. So when I say that, it's ridiculous. It should never happen. There's never an excuse for it, ever.
say the child wasn't the intended victim, can you say who the intended victim was?
I will not.
Were they there?
Yes.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.